I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Hello, friends. An invader tells us a sad, sad story, because 50 meters from his trench at the front, a group of 5 young fellow soldiers from an assault brigade had settled in an old stronghold. However, during the night, a bomber Mosquito came and dropped 3 anti-tank mines, which managed to destroy the position. For some reason, the invader is sad because none of his neighbors were saved, and also because it will take several days for their bodies to be evacuated. While he tells us his story, the Mosquito detector is going crazy, issuing an alert about the presence of more aerial predators in the area. On the technological front, the defenders introduced the Strila to a new generation Mosquito interceptor that integrates a rocket booster, allowing it to quickly reach an altitude of 2 kilometers. This improvement was developed thanks to the collaboration between the German company Quantum Systems and the Ukrainian drone manufacturer, and drones that produce the Strila platform. The Strila 2 integrates a compact solid-fuel rocket booster, similar to the one used in the Interceptor drone Jaeger developed by Quantum Systems. The booster allows for a rapid ascent to 2,000 meters in altitude, after which the drone begins to fly using its 4 electric motors. This preserves battery power, allowing for longer flight time, target acquisition, and enabling the system to pursue targets at high altitude. This solves a key limitation of battery-powered quadcopter-type interceptors, which consume a lot of energy during ascent. This design prioritizes energy efficiency, quick response, and operational autonomy against fast or high-altitude threats, such as the improved Jaeger drones. Ukrainian developers also gained access to the artificial intelligence software used in Quantum Systems' unmanned aerial vehicles, which could improve the detection and interception capabilities of objects. The Strila family of interceptors is designed to neutralize aerial threats such as Shahed-type attack drones, high-speed reconnaissance UAVs, and loitering munitions like the Lancet. Quantum Systems has already secured an order to supply 15,000 Strila Interceptor drones to the National Guard. These will be funded by the German government and manufactured in Ukraine in order to meet operational demand, with the option to export surplus systems in the future. On May 17, the unmanned systems operators from the Alpha Group of the Security Service of Ukraine carried out a furious mid-range Mosquito drone attack against an FSB barracks, which the invaders had set up in a building complex at the tip of Arabat, south of the occupied city of Genishevsk, or Vlastekerson. In the footage, we see how a swarm of multiple attack Mosquito drones strikes 9 buildings in the complex in a coordinated manner, hitting the roofs and entering through the windows, which caused widespread fires and severe structural damage. A Russian Pantsir S-1 air defense system that was on the premises was also destroyed, as it was unable to react to the violent and intense attack from multiple directions that overwhelmed the base's defenses. The importance of the attack was such that President Zelensky himself came out to confirm that the attack caused around 100 casualties among FSB personnel. This is significant, as they were invaders specialized in counterintelligence actions and police control of the occupied areas in southern Ukraine. Therefore, neutralizing them allows Ukrainian Special Forces agents and operators working behind enemy lines to operate with greater freedom. On the ground front, fighters from the 15th Independent Artillery Reconnaissance Brigade, Black Forest, successfully destroyed a Russian 563S command post using Ram-2 loitering munitions. This system integrates a self-propelled fire control radar and the command station for the Russian S-300 and S-400 air defense systems into the same vehicle. It is responsible for illumination, tracking, and missile guidance, which supposedly allows it to neutralize multiple aerial threats simultaneously. Its destruction is a serious loss for the integrated air defense network of the invading horde. The neutralization operation was followed by a Shark reconnaissance drone from the Independent Brigade, which tracked the loitering munition until it hit its target. The one that was painted with an unusual desert camouflage pattern, not very suitable for the Ukrainian battlefield. The attack caused a fire, which led its crew to end up abandoning it. The replacement cost of an integrated radar command and control post is several tens of millions of dollars. The 15th Brigade has earned a huge reputation for its expertise in long-range aerial reconnaissance and carrying out strikes behind enemy lines against the invaders, through which it has managed to destroy numerous high-value Russian systems, including Buk M2 anti-aircraft batteries and other air defense systems. The Mosquito operators from the Rubaka Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 77th Airmobile Brigade published a summary of their work from the past week, where they show how they managed to deputinize about a dozen illegal invaders who had entered the Kharkiv region. The motor skills and the precise, deadly coordination of these operators never cease to amaze, as they managed to navigate through the forest just to deliver the message to the Mortarite tourists. And you already know that the message is Baga Padabum motherfucker. One of the unit's favorite tactics is to set up their Mosquitoes in areas where the orcs pass through, who for some reason keep using over and over again the same paths where so many of their colleagues have received Putin's kiss. If you think about it, it actually makes sense. Consider that none of their colleagues returned to warn them about the unpleasant surprises on that path. Meanwhile, on the aerial front, the hunt for the command and control posts of the Horde's drones continues. These are generally found in buildings, since the higher they are, the greater the range they can achieve with their radio-controlled drones. This also allows the defenders to identify them more easily and call in a MiG-29 from the Air Force to give them the standard deputinization treatment with French hammer bombs. If any of those invaders survived, they'll have a severe headache. Reconnaissance teams are actively searching for the drone operator nests of the Horde, since they usually don't discriminate in their attacks between civilian and military targets. So as soon as one is identified, the Air Force is called in to carry out an attack as quickly as possible. In this case, with precision bombs dropped from a MiG-29. But since there were doubts about the effectiveness and to avoid any margin of error, the defenders sent a second round of hammers to ensure the complete destruction of this control center. These French hammers have already proven to be extremely effective and precise. Now I just hope that the new Ukrainian precision glide munitions turn out to be just as good. I'll end with something that'll be the cutest thing you see today. Because a Mosquito from the Rugby Team Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 129th Mechanized Infantry Brigade was lying in ambush when it detected the presence of another type of predator, in this case a steppe cat, which are the soldiers' favorite pets in the trenches because of their ability to keep mice and rats at bay inside the positions. Hello friends, the Special Needs Forces of the Z Federation keep advancing toward the front with the agility and grace that never cease to amaze us, although from what I see, it's likely to take them a few years to get here, and that's not even counting the Ukrainian hospitality that's waiting for them just a few meters ahead. On the Black Sea and Crimea front, the Mosquitoes of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces keep working, and during the night of May 23rd, they attacked the Russian frigate Admiral S again, the one that was anchored in the port of Novorossiysk, in what is the fourth attack against this warship since early March. The same commander, Robert Magyar Brodki, sent a message to the crew of the ship, saying the ship could end up like the Moskva one of these days. In the same raid, a Bora-class missile corvette was also damaged, which is a Soviet-designed hovercraft specialized in high-speed coastal attacks and anti-ship operations. It is equipped with 8 P-270 Mosquito supersonic cruise missiles, an OSA surface-to-air missile system with 20 missiles 30mm AK-630 anti-aircraft guns for close defense, IGLA man-pads launchers, as well as a 76.2mm AK-176M automatic cannon and anti-sabotage grenade launchers. On the same day but inland in the Donetsk region, the Mosquitoes from the 1st Independent Center took out an OSA-type anti-aircraft missile launcher, which they found in the middle of a field while it was trying to repel the swarm, so it was quickly dispatched with 2 hits. Other attacks hit a logistics center of the 6th Russian Air Defense Army in Rubinki, Luhansk region, a drone control post in Oleski, Kherson region, where a swarm of at least 4 large fixed-wing Mosquitoes was used. A large swarm with a powerful explosive payload caused the building sheltering the invaders to collapse, eliminating the group. The invaders themselves confirmed this on their social media. In addition, the unit's Mosquitoes actively patrol the roads, delivering Putin's kiss to multiple trucks, tanker, special-purpose engineering equipment, as well as a plentiful assortment of infantry-fighting armored vehicles that the invaders still keep in the occupied areas of the Zaporizhzhia region. On the technological front, Defense Minister Mikhail Fedorov has announced the Logistics Blockade initiative, which aims to systematically weaken Russian operational capabilities by intensifying mid-range Mosquito strikes against supply depots, command posts, and the invaders' logistical routes at a depth of between 30 and 200 kilometers from the front. The rear of the invaders is no longer a safe place. The program has already shown its first successes, as Ukrainian forces have quadrupled their attacks on Russian rear infrastructure since the beginning of this year, which has led to a significant reduction in assaults. The front for the very first, Mikhail, announced the Logistical Blockade Initiative, which aims to weaken direct acquisition, intensify Mosquito attacks targeting system units, depots, supplies, command, and has shown its first successes, since the forces can order them directly on the Brave One platform. Attacks on supply depots have quadrupled, which has caused a reduction on the technological front, announcing the production that weakens drone matters. Regarding the announced Logistics Blockade Initiative, which weakens those matters, reference to that, announced the rear of Ivan's initiative to weaken the traffic caused by the Z truckers, an unstoppable issue in this area. Significant chambers are perfectly fine, which allows groups of men to attack. If the initiative for a logistical blockade is announced, which weakens matters of matters, the announced initiative for a blockade weakens the announced one, which weakens the initiative for a logistical blockade matters. Meanwhile, in Mordor, panic is taking over the deputies of the Duma, as the Federation is facing its worst budget deficit since 1990. As the president of the corporation, Valery Gartem, calmly explains to us. How will we address the budget deficit?
Federal budget deficit.
Last year we had more than 5 trillion, and now almost 5 trillion more. 5 trillion. So in total it's already close to 11 trillion rubles. Are we going to print money or what? Like in 92 when prices went up by 30% every week? Well, we understand. So we need to collect money from somewhere. I understand companies are in a tough spot right now.
Now, in a difficult situation.
But now we are fighting a war, so naturally we need to get more money. What do you want me to say, friends? I see the fellow deputy is worried. The truth is, the only reason your budget hasn't collapsed yet is because of the lifting of sanctions on oil sales. In any case, the solution to all of Ivan's problems is very simple. Anyway, once again, this meme becomes relevant. On the logistics front, the Swedish government confirmed through its website that it has reached an agreement with Ukraine for the sale of 20 Saab Gripen Echo and Foxtrot fighters for an amount of 2.5 billion euros, which will be provided by the support loan to Kiev approved by the European Union. Additionally, once Ukraine completes the purchase, Sweden will proceed to donate 16 Gripens of the Charlie and Delta versions, as well as advanced ammunition, including Iris-T and AMRAAM missiles, in addition to long-range air-to-air Meteor missiles, a system that Ukraine hopes to use to keep the Su-34 fullbacks that launch glide bombs at their positions at a distance. In fact, during the signing of the agreement, the Gripen on display was equipped with 4 Meteor missiles. I mean, I don't think they could have given a clearer signal than that. The Swedish Defense Minister, Paul Johnson, stated that deliveries of the Gripen will begin in early 2027 in order to strengthen Ukraine now, while a more modern air force is built for the coming decades. For his part, President Zelensky stated that Ukraine will go for all 150 Gripens considered in the letter of intent, and that this is just the first batch. The plan to donate the Gripen C and D to Kiev has been under consideration for 3 years, but it was initially proposed when the Allies asked Stockholm to wait so that Ukraine could first integrate the fleet of F-16s donated by the Allies, which were later joined by a handful of second-hand French Mirage 2000 fighter jets. Before today's announcement, Stockholm approved in September 2024 the donation to Ukraine of spare parts for the Gripen system valued at $214 million, and Saab received a contract for $48 million in 2022 to modernize the Swedish Air Force's Gripen C and D fleet so they could remain in service until 2035. So, the fleet that the defenders will receive will be perfectly capable of surviving on the battlefield. Changing the subject to something closer to the channel, the American YouTuber Jake Braw announced the successful delivery of 15 new pickup trucks to Kiev, which were delivered to different units of the armed forces of Ukraine. Among the units that benefited was that of our friend Sebastian Cuervoso Back-Flores, who gives a brief interview to Johnny FD.
Great, how did your volunteering for Ukraine end?
Well, I was an army officer in Chile before. I was a huge lover of history and ended up falling in love with Ukraine and its culture. And when the full-scale invasion started, I decided to resign my commission and come to help in a place where I knew that the knowledge and experience I had would make a difference. And since then, I've been here, and yeah, the only time I've been outside of the country not doing something related to the military was when I got wounded and had to get some surgeries abroad. Other than that, I've been enjoying the east of Ukraine and sometimes here as well.
Okay, good. I hope you enjoy this talk as well. How will it benefit you and your UNU units?
Yeah, well, nowadays I think transport is critical, and I'll say that without it, our life would be way more difficult. Nowadays, yeah, you can receive this car, and I think it's going to make a huge difference in the tasks that we perform, that we execute.
Okay, can you talk about what your unit does?
Yeah, we are divers. We work in the maritime environment as part of the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine. And yeah, that's basically where we have been. I mean, the unit has been all around Ukraine. We belong to the country's special operations community.
Diving? Like in the water, like scuba diving.
Yeah, scuba diving, you know,
I used to work as a scuba diver, like a dive master. Yeah.
like for SSI.
Or for Patty, but I prefer SSI to be honest. Wow, yes.
We'll need to raise this part. They should not know about this.
It's okay, but that's crazy. Like, you're in the Imperial River, like, you don't have to say where, but I can't imagine it's fun diving in Ukraine, especially right now with mines and ships and...
Diving is always fun. I don't know what
You're,
Talking.
about. Well, okay, we're going to be talking about this offline, but thank you so much. And Jake, do you want to say something to Jake and his guys?
Of course. Well, before everything, I was a volunteer, and I'm still a huge fan of your channel. And again, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for supporting Ukraine. And thank you so much to the whole community as well. Wait.
Have you watched Jake's channel for a while?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I think he has helped Ukraine a lot. And well, not just Ukraine, but us too. So the least we can do is see who he is. So I know a little bit. A little bit about his life and about his channel, of course. I see it as a good source of information, in my opinion.
Wow. So, guys, even the soldiers on the front lines, not just the front, even in the water on the front, they're still watching Jake update. So, thank you to Jake. And mucho gusto to all the Spanish speakers. Maybe you can say something in Spanish to them.
I don't know what I can say to you. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. Thank you for what you have done, for being here for us. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's all. My Spanish has been getting rusty for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to have seen Slowburn, our friend, and to see that he got a new truck, a Volkswagen Amarok, no less. These efforts show how civilian aid covers important gaps in mobility and logistics for the Ukrainian forces, supporting where official channels cannot. Jake Rowe's channel has more than Brooklyn 75, and that's a simple one that we are not. Hello, friends. A few days ago, we saw how the defenders of the 40th Marine Infantry Brigade modified a Magura naval drone by adding 6 thermobaric infantry rocket launchers to attack Vladivostok. These rocket launchers can also carry a swarm of up to 8 Mosquitoes. It's a telescopic control that deploys when it reaches the area or targets. A drone with telescopic deployment fulfills its missions against coastal defenses and extends the Mosquito's operating range, or against the anti-aircraft batteries Ivan decided to install near the Black Sea. Honestly, I think that soon we'll see underwater drones appear out of nowhere inside one of Ivan the Pirate's naval bases to launch a swarm of attack Mosquitoes. Yesterday, we told you about the 4th attack by the 1st Independent Center against the frigate Admiral E. Essen, which is a carrier of caliber cruise missiles, while it was docked at the port of Novorossiysk. In the footage, you can see how the coastal defenses open fire against the swarm of FP-2 Mosquitoes approaching. But despite the volume of anti-aircraft artillery, one of the raiders manages to get through and hits the frigate directly. The full extent of the damage suffered by the ship has not been confirmed, but satellite images of the port show clear signs of fire damage on one of its sides. Surely soon, there will be news of a new inspection visit to the ship by the defenders. On the ground, it's always positive to see how the defenders take out another Grad multiple rocket launcher, which are particularly detested by the infantry and are zealously hunted by unmanned systems forces. In this case, the impact not only managed to demilitarize the system, but also did so in a rather spectacular way, since apparently it was fully loaded at the time of the close encounter. A good way to start the weekend. The Russian mill blogger Rivar has confirmed that Ukrainian Hornet-class drones are flying en masse over the strategic logistical corridors connecting Donetsk, Mariupol, and Melitopol. In the Luhansk Oblast, the Hornets are teaming up with Bulava-class loitering munitions to maintain near-constant interdiction in airport areas, targeting aircraft movement in these airport areas. In a Hornets operation, 20 trucks since March 2026. Attacks have been geolocated and confirmed by Russian truck drivers who record and share on social media the neutralization of their own and colleagues' vehicles, corroborated by details. The videos that the Defenders' unmanned systems units have started to post in large numbers to share their successes in this offensive. The aircraft is moving at an airport, moving in an area. The movement of airports and inferred is carrying 45 of the unmanned systems forces, which is carrying out a large-scale operation to permanently cut off Russian logistics on the southern front, Surrey. The primary targets of these attacks are the military equipment and supplies of the Horde's occupation forces in their so-called deep rear. A new generation of Mosquitoes and equipment is being used for the blockade, targeting supplies in their so-called deep rear. The Horde's supplies, rear, and the supplies that were developed for the Horde, their deep rear. The equipment and supplies in their so-called rear, perfectly adapted to these types of the effectiveness of the new system, has been demonstrated by the destruction of dozens of supply trucks and tankers belonging to the invaders. The magnitude of the losses led Russian occupation officials to impose restrictions on heavy vehicle traffic on sections of the route starting on May 21st. These measures to mitigate the blockade have further complicated Russian supply operations. Russian routes that connect mainland Russia with occupied Crimea and the southern front lines. Another measure is that transports have been ordered to use rural dirt roads to bypass the route. This has also been useless because Ukrainian Mosquitoes have no trouble detecting these vehicles on any type of terrain. The repercussions of this campaign go far beyond the loss of part of the Horde's truck fleet. But invading units operating at the front have started to report shortages of fuel and ammunition. Meanwhile, prices have risen drastically in the city of Melitopol and on the Crimean Peninsula, caused by delays in supply shipments, traffic jams caused by attacks and restrictions on heavy vehicle traffic on main roads, forcing them to use local roads. In this footage, we can see the treatment given by the Mosquito operators of the K2 Brigade to a supply convoy. The action happens at night, as shown by the infrared camera recordings. But we can clearly see the intense use of artificial intelligence guidance systems for their attack run, the terminal attack. This prevents these raiders from being affected by the electronic warfare systems that Ivan uses to try to deceive their pursuers. This doesn't mean it doesn't work. Rather, the swarm operator selects the target and puts the Mosquito into automatic guidance, which is a kind of onboard pilot, making external operator involvement unnecessary. One of the orcs survives the attack. Vivientes sadly tells us how his convoy of military vehicles was completely demilitarized by a Ukrainian swarm. I couldn't confirm Bogota in the same one he accused of receiving attention from the K2, but it's within the realm of possibility. While we listen to his sad story, we can hear rifle fire further down the road, a sure sign that the defenders are still working to close that road. These attacks are weakening the invading Army Corps on the southern front by making troop rotation, ammunition supply, and food delivery more difficult. The Russian mill bloggers have already begun to warn of an imminent widespread collapse if reinforcements are not sent. They have already begun to warn of an imminent generalized collapse. If not, their lines will fall. Subscribe and activate notifications to receive videos about new mid-range Mosquito drones. These are the first generation of Hornets. The first one does not explode when it hits the invader's truck, but its partner, which does, unleashes a torrent of attacks on the enemy, damaging their vehicles and illegal transports. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell for updates. These long-range drones could help explain their long range. We can also notice that they are not very sturdy. making them harder to shoot down from the sides. The last striking feature is the large explosive payload they carry. I'm sure Ivan will enjoy the information at www.albertosanagustin. As for the story, the last thing is the large explosive payload, which will vary a lot depending on this temporary factor. But also the case of the defensive being enlightened. I think that activities with value as defense are also influenced by the same lack of alternatives and the need to go through it. And in this case, the operators of operations especially put albertosanagustin.com Tractor shop. The first one was operating in the vicinity of the occupied city. The second one was transported by truck along the M14 highway near the occupied port of Berdyansk during the night of May 29, which shows how even critical air defense equipment is being moved through the area. Transition. It would have been better if they were destroyed while operating, as that would mean the specialized crew was there, and neutralizing them is a key goal. But come on, let's look on the bright side. To see more content about the war in Ukraine, visit our 2 new channels for information on the conflict. In a different format, don't forget to check them out. Remember to visit our Patreon, where for just $1, you'll have access to a large number of uncensored videos and documentaries. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.